Hey, what is up, guys? It is your boy Anon from Anon Gaming, and we are finishing the 5 to 10 spells that you are using wrong in D&D. There we go. And I'm going to argue that you are really using some of these wrong. So, without further ado, let's begin part 2 of our 2-part video, shall we? Roll the intro. Thank you for joining us today on the Anon Gaming channel. Please remember to drop a like, hit subscribe, hit that bell for notifications, and if you are interested in any merchandise, or as you young kids call it, merch, please click the link below. It would make me so happy. Now, on with the video. Thank you again. Wow, how wonderful. What a beautiful intro that we have there. So, the first spell on our list is Reincarnate. So, what exactly is this spell? Well, let me read it to you. Reincarnate is a 5th level transmutation spell. The casting time is 1 hour, range is touch. The components are visual, somatic, and material. The materials are rare, oils, and unguents worth at least 1,000 gold pieces, which the spell consumes. Duration, instantaneous. Classes that can use this are Druid, and that is it. You touch a dead humanoid or piece of a dead humanoid and provide that creature, or provided that the creature has been dead no longer than 10 days. There we go. English. The spell forms a new adult body for it and then calls the soul to enter that body. If the target's soul isn't free or willing to do so, the spell fails. The magic fashions a new body for the creature to inhabit, which is likely to cause the creature's race to change. The DM rolls a D100 and consults the following table to determine what form that creature takes when restored to life, or the DM chooses a form. On a 1 to 4, it is a Dragonborn. On a 5 to 13, it is a Hill Dwarf. On a 14 to 21, it is a Mountain Dwarf. 22 to 25, it is a Dark Elf. 26 to 34, it is a High Elf. 35 to 42, it is a Wood Elf. 43 to 46 is a Forest Gnome. 47 to 52 is a Rock Gnome. 53 to 56 is a Half Elk. 57 to 60 is Half Orc. 61 to 68 is a Halfling, or is a Lightfoot Halfling. 69 to 76 is a Stout Halfling. 77 to 96 is a Human. 97 to 100 is Tiefling. The reincarnated creature recalls its former life and experiences and retains the capabilities it had in its original form, except it exchanges its original race for the new one and changes its racial traits accordingly. So, what is the how are you using this, Ron? Well, let me tell you. I would argue that not just this spell, but any spell that brings a creature back from the dead, and like normally not like making them undead, but resurrecting them, you are using wrong. So you can use this in a plethora of ways. Let's say you are using I think it's called True, what is it? Actually, we're going to talk about that in a second. I guess. But you are using this spell wrong because, well, when you, as the druid, cast it, you're bringing back probably someone that you loved or someone that was meaningful to you. However, you can make serious dough out of this. And any regeneration spell you can make serious dough out of, other than maybe True Resurrection, but we'll talk about that. Anyway, you have some serious power going through with this. Let's say, like the normal times that you would use this is reviving a friend or loved one, yada yada yada. But let's say someone in the village is searching or is crying, and you walk up next to them and sit down next to them, next to the cobblestone streets of Zimbabwe. I don't know why I've been using Zimbabwe in the last 2 videos. Let's think of a new place. Let's use my own campaign of Kayquil. You're sitting on the cobblestone streets of a random city in Kayquil. Kayquil is a continent, by the way. Anyway, some random city in the giant continent of Kayquil. And, you are... Actually, no, you are sitting on the streets of Fajir, which is a place in... Never mind. Watch my D&D podcast, Roll Deans, it's great. Anyway, you're sitting in the streets of Fajir, and you're sitting by that person who's crying and go, "What's wrong?" And they say, "My grandmother just died. Oh, please, I need someone to comfort me. I don't know what's wrong. Other than, well, obviously, my grandma just died, but I'm having horrible thoughts." And then that's when you go, "Hey, what if I told you that I can bring her back? But it comes at a price." And then you say, "I need 2,000 gold pieces, and I can bring them back." And then she says, "Well, I don't have 2,000 gold pieces. I'm a mere commoner. That's a lot of money." And then you say, "Well, how about you owe me a favor worth, or a number of favors that add up to the worth of 2,000 gold pieces." And she says, "Anything." And I said, "All right. It does come with a little bit of a risk." And you tell her that she could come back as any of the following races, and you name them off. And she says, "Oh, that's fine. And you do the spell, and this person owes you many a favor. Well, you just gained yourself a free servant, or a slave, or whatever you want to call them. Or let's say the great noble of the land of Fajir, which I don't remember his name off the top of my head, his wife passed away of a sudden illness, and he is heartbroken, and you storm into the castle and you say, King, I don't remember his name, King, I can revive your loved one. It will just come at the cost of 2,000 gold pieces." I know that the spell costs 1,000, but you're making 1,000 out of this. Or you can owe me a favor. Just one, any favor. And the king agrees. And then you read off the side effects of that. It could be any race. And you say, "I believe that the gender will remain the same, but for sure she will remember her love for you and everything. Are you sure you want me to do this?" And he'll say yes, and yada yada yada. And then you revive them, and you get a favor from the king. Maybe the king's like, "Well, I've never dated a gnome before. This could be interesting." And yada yada yada. Anyway, I'm taking too much time. On with the next spell. You get it. It can be used to exploit people. Yeah. Thaumaturgy. Or thaumaturgy, or themithrimithrilde. Whichever you want to call it. Whichever you want to call it. Thaumaturgy is a cantrip. It's a transmutation cantrip. The casting time is 1 action, range 30 feet, components visual, duration up to 1 minute, classes are cleric. That is it. You manifest a minor wonder, a sign of supernatural power. Oh, keep in mind, you can choose any of these, by the way. A sign of supernatural power within range. You create one of the following magical effects within range. Your voice booms up to 3 times as loud as normal for 1 minute. You cause flames to flicker or brighten, dim, or change color for 1 minute. You cause harmless tremors in the ground for 1 minute. You create an instant sound that originates from a point of your choice within range, such as a rumble of thunder, the cry of a raven, or anonymous whispers. You instantaneously cause an unlocked door or window to fly open or slam shut. You alter the appearance of your eyes for 1 minute. If you cast this spell multiple times, you have up to 3 of its 1 minute effects active at a time. Oh, you can have up to 3 of its 1 minute effects. And you can dismiss them as such, in effect. And you can dismiss such an effect as an action. So, okay, give me 2 seconds here. The sheer amount of stuff that you can do with this is through the roof. So most people will use it as an intimidation factor. Well, they'll slam the sword down on the ground, and all of a sudden, all the windows in the tavern shut close. And it is just you and the barmaid in the tavern. And you try to get information out of her. Well, that works. Or maybe your friend is giving a speech in the entire room, and you want it to be magical. And then you thaumaturgy all the candles and the torches and the lanterns all change from red to blue, encompassing your friend's speech, allowing her or him to become, to allow people to enter the realm of possibility. And with that, you can also make their voice a lot louder for their speech to make it more powerful. Or maybe, just maybe, you are in the kingdom of Fajir, and the king is declaring a new law. Or maybe you are in a quiet business meeting of sorts, or any sort of quiet event. I really hate my dogs. Sorry. Someone just knocked on the door and they're barking. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, I think we're good. Anyway, where was I? Or you're in some sort of quiet meeting that's boring or whatever, or maybe you are at a friend's house, or you are just somewhere where you probably don't want what I'm about to say to happen. You cast thaumaturgy to make it sound like in the other room 2 people are loudly doing it. Not only does that create a distraction, but it can also create some laughs. So that is why I included thaumaturgy in this video. Oh, remember when I talked about True Resurrection? Well, True Resurrection is a 9th level necromancy spell. The casting time is 1 hour, the range is touch, and the components are visual, somatic, and material. Now, it is quite expensive, as it is also a 9th level spell. The materials are a sprinkle of holy water and diamonds worth at least 25,000 gold pieces. Note that it doesn't say diamond, it says diamonds, so you can have as many as you want. Now, which the spell consumes. The duration is instantaneous. Classes that can cast it are Cleric and Druid, and here's what it does. You touch a creature that has been dead for no longer than 200 years, and that died for any reason except old age. Keep in mind that reincarnate has nothing to do with age. So they could be an old person, you reincarnate them, and they come back as a 20-something-year-old dragonborn. Anyway, True Resurrection, they couldn't have died from old age. If that creature's soul is free and willing, the creature is restored to life with all its hit points. This spell closes all wounds, neutralizes any poisons, cures all disease, lifts any curse affecting the creature when it died. The spell replaces damaged or missing organs and limbs. The spell can even provide a new body if the original no longer exists, in which case you must speak the creature's name. The creature then appears in an unoccupied space you choose within 10 feet of you. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, This is a 9th level spell. Not only do I not want to waste the materials, but how could I use this? How am I using it wrong? Well, let me tell you. You may think to yourself, my friend is dead, I need to revive him, or there's only one person I know who knows this much about aboleths, and that is my great-grandfather, but he's been dead for 150 years. Well, you cast True Resurrection, obviously, but that is not the only way to use it. Let's say you are wanting to start a war against two nations, or at least bring a nation to collapse and to its knees. Well, you can use True Resurrection to do that. And this is how. You are a wise cleric or druid who has studied the religious or druidic arts for many years, but you have a true hatred for let's say this is back in the olden days of the world. You don't like ancient Rome, and back then you are a druid or cleric, and well, you've been studying history for quite some time, and you know that there is a powerful wizard who died years and years ago because of some random reason that's not old age, and you go and you think to yourself, I could use him to start a war. Let's do it. And you go and you find the man, or you know his name, and you can cast the spell and you bring him back to life, and he is like, what? Why am I here? And then you go, well, it's because I need you to help me fight this war. I want to bring the great Rome to its knees. And he says, oh, I would most definitely love to help with that. So let's get on with it. And then you two take over the Rome, and you're awesome because you have a wizard. You are using it wrong, is all I'm trying to say. Do not use it just to bring back your friends and family, yada, yada, yada. Use it to your advantage and pillage entire kingdoms with the help of whoever you want from history. Or maybe you know that you don't like the current king who is living, or who is ruling over a land. So you know that a few years back, the laws had to be changed because the king did not have any children and he was murdered at a young age, or something like that. And so in the law states that only the true heir to the throne can be king. Or maybe the king had a baby, but the baby died early or something, and that was the only son he had. And you bring back that person or child, and you raise them, if they are a child, and you take them to the king, or to the castle, and he declares his birthright as king, even though it's 150 to 200 years later. Then, of course, wizards and whatnot would inspect the boy or the person, make sure that they are the real person, and by law, the king has to step down. Boom. Problem solved. Anyway, let's continue on to the next one. These next two are going to be quite interesting. So, this is kind of similar to what we did with the gaseous form. So, this is the spell Create Food and Water. It is a 3rd level conjuration spell. The time to cast this is 1 action. The range is 30 feet. The components are visual and somatic. The duration is instantaneous, and the classes that can cast this are Cleric and Paladin. You create 45 pounds of food and 30 gallons of water on the ground or in containers within range. Enough to sustain up to 15 humanoids or 5 seeds for 24 hours. The food is bland but nourishing and spoils if unheated after 24 hours. The water is clean and doesn't go bad. So, how, you may think, how can I use this? Well, let me tell you. So, let's start by looking at create food. Many parts of the human body can be considered containers. See where I'm going with this? Let's say you concentrate, or let's say someone is yawning and you hate that person, and you cast create food or water. Well, it is an open. It doesn't say that they have to be open containers, but one of the spells that we're going to be looking at discusses an open container, but it's not this one. But let's say that you don't like a person, and then you fill their stomachs with 45 pounds of food. The stomach would burst, and they would die. Or, on the contrary, you can create 30 gallons of water, either in their stomach, or use their lungs as a container, thus drowning them. Now, this next spell is quite similar to this. In fact, almost the same. Minus the food, but it is still important nevertheless, so let's certainly look at it. Create or destroy water is a first level transmutation spell. The casting time is 1 action, range 30 feet. Components are visual somatic material. The material is a drop of water if creating water, or a few grains of sand if destroying it. Okay? The duration is instantaneous. The classes that can cast this are Cleric and Druid. You either create or destroy water. Create water. You create up to 10 gallons of clean water within the range in an open container. Like I said, the old open container thing. Alternatively, the water falls as rain in a 30-foot cube within range, extinguishing exposed flames in the area. We don't care about that. Destroy water. You destroy up to 10 gallons of water in an open container within range. Alright. Alternatively, you can destroy a fog within 30-foot cube. Okay, we don't care. At higher levels, you can cast this spell of 2nd level or higher. You create or destroy 10 additional gallons of water, or the size of the cube increases by 5 feet for each slot level above the first. Now, that's interesting. Here's why. Remember 2 seconds ago when I was talking about the human body being a container? I think you see where this is going. So, let's say someone that you absolutely hate is yawning, or yelling, or speaking in their mouth, or not even that, because you can get access through their nose and ears. That would make them an open container. So, you have 2 options. You can either drown them, fill their body completely with water, so that not only do they drown, but they become 100% water. Or, whatever. Or, so basically drown them, or take all the water inside of their bodies and destroy it. And I know what you're saying, or thinking. You're thinking this. You're thinking, well, Enoch, how... There's no way that a 1st level spell of destroy water can destroy enough water to kill a person. Well, let's look at the facts. How many gallons of water are in the human body? 14 gallons of water. Alright. You destroy 10 of those 14 gallons. You know what happens? They become incredibly dehydrated. But, let's say you cast that at a 2nd level. They die. That's it. Gone. No more. No more. So, By casting, either create food and water, or create or destroy water, many things can happen. So, here's the thing. With create food and water, you don't really need it. It just depends on, what class you are. So if you're a paladin, you use create food and water. If you're a druid, you use create or destroy water. And if you are a cleric, you can use either. I would say create or destroy water, as that is A, a cheaper spell, but B, more powerful. Unless you worry about needing to feed your party, then you can have both or just one or the other. I don't care. That's up to you. Depends on how you also want to kill them. Now, by this definition, you can kill anyone instantaneously. Furthermore, if you had the spell Control Water, you can suck all of the water out of their entire body, and if you wanted to, pull along their internal organs out of every hole and pore in their body. Now, doesn't that sound like fun? Now, I'll see you all on the other side. Now, one more thing. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider dropping a like, hitting subscribe, hitting that bell for notifications, and click the link down below for merch, and also leave a comment answering the question of, how would you properly use create or destroy water if it was in your campaign? Now, I'll see you guys in the next one. I am Enoch from Enoch Gaming, and like I said, I'll see you in the next one. A toodaloo, au revoir, bye. And if you look over there, you see the rare Visco girl out in the wild. If we really try, we can use her mating call to see if we can bring her over here. She responds. Oh my goodness, I've never seen a real Visco girl in the wild. I didn't think that would work. Oh my goodness, this is Sparta.